So I think this might be a little bit overdue, but I think it's worth looking at. Sup guys, SK here, and this is my Galaxy A11 review. Powered by a Snapdragon 450, at the bottom of the phone you have a USB-C, speaker grill, a microphone for making calls, and at the top you have another microphone for taking videos, I suppose, and an earpiece for making calls. On the other side of the phone you have your volume up and down buttons and the power button. And of course at the back, that triple set camera and a very good fingerprint scanner. The phone has this glossy back, but hey, if you're not feeling that, you might as well put a skin on it or just a chip cover if you're really into that. With the phone you have a decent 8 megapixel selfie camera, 6.4 inch 720 TFT display. This is one of the most beautiful displays I've ever seen on a Samsung budget phone. I think you'll see later on when I compare it to 1080p display, but this display is so beautiful, and even outside it gets decently bright because it's a TFT display. Can't really expect more from that, but this is a really good display. It's accurate, colors are accurate. I really love the display. Jumping over to cameras, so at the back you have a 13 megapixel main lens camera, 5 megapixel wide lens camera, and a 2 megapixel depth sensor. Launching the camera app on this phone just works the way they expect it to work, not super fast, not too slow, but just fine. Heading over to the settings, you'll see that the front-facing camera only limited to 1080p, and the back as well as 1080p. I don't think you'll be expecting to record any 4K footage out of this. I think the camera is capable of recording 4K, but with the limitation of the processor, I think you're just fine recording 1080p. Looking at the quality of the camera, diving into the camera menu, you have your auto HDR. You also have different camera modes, such as your live photo, pro mode for changing how, or maybe changing the feel, and how you actually like taking photos if you're not digging the default settings by Samsung, right? And camera performance is just an okay camera performance. Can't really say, it's exceptionally well, but it delivers what it's built to deliver. Looking at the performance of the phone and the feel when you're inside the camera, the phone actually takes pictures really quick, and browsing through the menus never experienced any lag at all. One thing to note about the 8 megapixel selfie camera is that if you're outside and you have enough lighting, it'll just take decent pictures. Can't really say they're good, but it'll take decent pictures, focus on you and your background, and that's just fine. Problems actually start once you get indoors. The camera just suffers a lot, cannot focus on your face. Sometimes it does focus, but it just look blurry, and I actually did not like the photos it took with low light or just indoors. Wide angle shots on this phone look decent enough. I could say I really like them, just for delivering what I was expecting them to deliver. Did a great job there, right? And then moving to, photos of objects, I took pictures of flowers. I could say the flowers looked decent, but I just had a problem with color accuracy of the flowers. I was not really digging them. Sometimes the phone will pick the right colors, and sometimes it will just randomly pick any color that comes through the sensor, of which was a real deal breaker for me. And looking at the videos without any camera stabilization, actually the videos looked really okay for me. The videos looked okay, but yet again, the color science just didn't do the right job. Videos looked a bit overwashed, and I really didn't know where the colors were coming from, but yeah, I really can't expect much out of it. Switching to the front-facing camera, I think it did a decent job with the color accuracy, could focus on me and the background as well, so I really had no complaints with that. But I think mainly it's because there was enough light, and I think indoors I'd still experience the same problems. And moving to the things that I actually loved about the device, I think the fingerprint scanner worked really quick. Was like the way to expect the fingerprint to work, but I was actually impressed by the fingerprint on this phone. Really had no complaints about that. switching between apps, opening apps was decent enough, no lag whatsoever. So I think that it really impressed me. Multitasking on the phone, never had problems with that. I think the phone just kept on a decent performance as well. There's a feature for one-hand mode if you feel like the device is just too big for your hands, so you can just switch that on. And there's another feature as well for reducing animation, so opening apps and closing apps might be taking a bit too long, so you can switch that animation off so that the phone can open and close apps really quick. I actually like this feature. And of course, adding to that, I really think, I'll say it again, this phone has a beautiful display. A couple of things I do not like about the device is the fact that the phone used a cheap plastic bag. Not a problem for a budget smartphone, but the problem with this one was the fact that you can actually feel the space in between the back cover and the inside components, that when you press on the back cover, it actually bends towards inside. And I think that Samsung could have at least sacrificed that with a bigger battery, because this phone only comes with a 4000 milliamp battery. And battery life on this phone was not as good as I expected it to be, especially when I was using internet a lot. So on LTE mode, I wouldn't last that 5 hours on screen time that I was expecting from this phone. And it actually takes longer to charge, though with a USB-C could take between 2 hours and 2.5 hours to fully charge the battery. Because of a limitation of that 720p, so that means there's no full HD content to be consumed on the phone. And this is a budget phone, so another problem is you cannot really promise yourself that Samsung is going to update the phone in the future. And camera was not that great, but performance, at least they were expected to perform. Other than the things that I mentioned about the phone, I think this is a great phone. Display looks beautiful. Audio sounds great on the phone. Forgot to mention that the phone actually comes with Dolby Atmos. Feels great. I think this is a great value for money. If you live in South Africa and you look at the options that we do have, I think this is a beautiful display, beautiful phone. And I think Samsung did a really great job. Hopefully that they'll improve on the camera in the next version of the phone. Not sure if it's going to be the A12 that is coming. There's a rumor A12 that is coming. But I think overall, I'm happy with the phone. And I think this is great value for money. Thanks for watching my video. If you like this type of content, please hit like, subscribe for more content. See you in the next one. Cheers.